I'm here with Bid and Tom from the Monochrome set, who tonight are getting back on stage together for the first time in 10 years for Cherry Red Records' 30th anniversary. Hi, gentlemen. I guess the first thing to say is thank you very much for agreeing to the reunion. Was it an easy decision to reach, and what was the motivation behind the positive reaction?
Well, by coincidence, it also happens to be our 30th anniversary since we formed in early 1978. We didn't really know if we were going to do anything and what we were going to do, perhaps just have a drink somewhere. When we were first asked, we sort of hummed and hawed about it because it would be a sort of a step, a psychological step, if you like, for us to reform. You know, we're not really sort of buzzcocks, X-ray specs, whatever. We're not desperate for a pension. But,
well, coincidentally, it's my 30th birthday, so...
yeah, exactly.
Anniversaries all around.
We don't normally live on Earth, obviously. Yeah, but we're very happy to be here. Yeah.
So your association with the label goes back to Cherry 42, which was the mating game.
1982.
Yeah, 1982.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a bit about how everything first came together for you to be a Cherry Red act?
Well, we'd done a demo for a company called Do It Records, and we knew that they weren't interested. We just used their money to make a demo to take to other people.
I think we can say that.
And you know, fairly early on, when we approached a few indie record labels, and fairly early on we found Cherry Red and went from there. So I think that Cherry Red were sort of one of the few indie labels at the time that were still indie, you know, or still had a vague spirit of new wave, who hadn't sort of degenerated into either punk or straightforward commerciality, sold out to a major or something like that. So they were still sort of an indie label, you know.
I think also it's true to say that we found something of a soulmate in Mike Allway. I remember first meeting with him in a pub in Wimbledon.
I can't remember where Wimbledon is.
It was apparent that we were kind of seeing things the same way.
He paid, obviously.
Of course, yeah. And I think over the last 26 years, it's something like 5 singles and 11 albums on the Cherry Red label alone.
Yeah.
So it's been a fairly prolific and...
It has, and Cherry Red, we were with, for the 5th album and the 6th album, we were with other labels, and Cherry Red bought the rights to those albums up.
Yeah.
And they sort of represent kind of a home of our indie material, if you like. So there is, out of the 9 albums that we've done, there's really just 3 albums which are on majors, and the rest are all on Cherry Red. All the indie product actually ended up on Cherry Red, yes.
So would you say it's you've always kind of felt a strong bond with a label? And
well,
has it been a changing relationship?
We kind of feel a bond with anybody who has money, really. You know? That's our kind of label. We're willing to part with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Cherry Red have actually kept going. There haven't been like stiff records in the old days. That it might well be that Cherry Red, even though they've been going for 30 years, around the time of New Wave and punk, they weren't exactly a really big company then. They weren't really proactive in that, and that might have saved them, I think. That they didn't blow all their money on stiff little fingers like Rough Trader, blah, blah, blah. So that what kind of saved them in a sense is that they started to mature in the mid-80s, and they pretty much carved out that. I personally think that they were the first label that represented a kind of proto-twee pop, which became so big in the indie scene.
A postmodern eclecticism,
yeah.
I think, is the phrase you're searching for.
And yeah. You also did 2 albums with the Cherry Red umbrella label, L Records, which again brought you into contact with Mike Allway.
Yeah.
Was that a different experience to the Cherry Red albums?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a different experience to our later association with Cherry Red, because we'd always, pardon me, we'd always dealt with Mike Allway anyway. So, you know, he was always part of Cherry Red, and he was always there, representative of Cherry Red, and it's just that we dealt slightly more with him, slightly less with everyone else when we dealt with Elle. But those albums were compilation albums or demos or live tapes, so it was different anyway, really. So.
And given that it's been 10 years since you've been on stage together, what have you each been up to in the meantime?
It's like Groundhog Day. Bid, of course, continues with Scarlet's Well, so this is not such culture shock for him. Andy, who I'll speak for, has continued with
Would Be Good.
Would Be Good. And I
haven't played guitar for 10 years.
I haven't played guitar for 10 years. My fingers are bleeding. And I teach painting. I teach fine art.
Okay.
Because that's where all of this started, really, was an art school band with Adamant. So that's where I've returned.
So back to tonight, how have rehearsals been going? Is it something you're...
Rehearsals? Should we rehearse?
Well,
knew there's something we left.
we've actually, there's Lester, Andy and myself, then there's Sean and Jen from Scarlet's Well, and it happens that Scarlet's Well have already played live something like 6 or 7 Monochrome set songs, so they already know the material. So the rehearsals, we didn't need really that many rehearsals. Andy and I have never lost, we've never forgotten the material, it's just sort of, you know, and we've been playing anyway. So the rehearsals have been actually fine. We've only rehearsed a couple of times, it's okay.
And given that it is, as you say, first time for 10 years, your 30th anniversary as well, was this going to be a one-off, or is there chances of more appearances in the future?
The thing is, to be serious, it sounds like a joke. We weren't intending, we would get together again if someone offered us more money than we're worth. You follow me? Someone would have to pay us a lot of money to get together. I mean, it was just only a couple of weeks ago, no, a week ago.
So ring toll-free.
Yeah. There's a punk festival in Los Angeles, and I know with American festivals they'll pay for the air tickets and they won't give you a fee. No, we're not going to do it. You know, I've done it before. And we've played pubs in Camden, we've done them at tours of America and tours of Japan. It's got to be something special, like, you know, paid a lot of money to play in the Hermitage in St. Petersburg or something, but otherwise than that, we're not going to do it because we don't need the media attention, we don't need the money, we don't need the this, we don't want to revive our careers, we're not looking for a pension, we're not, you know, we're not that pathetic. And you know, it's if X-Ray Specs want to reform, that's up to them. If they haven't done anything for all that time, you know. But and that's fine. But it's like, you know, when I was young, there was the Tremolos, a late 60s band, that were doing working men's clubs. And it's not that long ago that I heard some band that were pretty big in the 90s, they're playing ferries, you know, cross-channel ferries and Baltic ferries. I was actually not interested in that, you know. We won't play at all if that's the way it is. So we would play, but someone's going to offer us quite a lot, or something really special or something. But other than that, we won't. So. Okay.
Well, I hope that offer comes along for you, and all the best for this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.